There is a most interesting description of the course of human life in an ancient Egyptian wisdom text in the museum in Leiden. It reads, "Man spends 10 years as a child before he understands life and death. He spends another 10 years acquiring the work of instruction by which he will be able to live." The transition from childhood to adulthood would have been marked by a rite of passage. Depictions of children often show them with their finger to their mouth and with their hair in a particular style associated with childhood. We call it the sidelock of youth. Presumably, ancient Egyptian children underwent a ritual cutting of this sidelock at the point when they were deemed to have reached adulthood. The identification of a girl as a woman in ancient Egyptian society is likely to have been marked by her first menstruation, insofar as it heralded her ability to have children, and thus her marriageable status. The ancient Egyptian word for menstruation was hesmen. The same word meant purification. A woman announced her pregnancy by stating that she did not need to comply with the purification rituals necessary had she been menstruating. There was clearly the fear that women's menstrual blood was pollutive and might attract demons. Male circumcision was also closely linked to a state of hygiene and purity. The Greek historian Herodotus commented that the Egyptians were circumcised as they preferred purity above fresh air. The stela of the pharaoh Pi in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo tells us that 3 men were not granted an audience with Pharaoh because they were uncircumcised. In contrast, 1 man was allowed to enter the royal court as he was deemed pure. A connection between circumcision and purity is presumably being assumed in this inscription. We have plenty of representations of naked men in ancient Egyptian art. They tend to be represented circumcised. The medical papyrus, Papyrus Ebers, includes a prescription for an ointment with honey in it to be applied to a wound inflicted in circumcision. The circumcision of boys took place as a puberty ritual, at the age when they transitioned from boyhood to manhood. This is a scene of circumcision in the Old Kingdom tomb of Ankh-Mahor at Saqqara. Firstly, the boy has something applied, seemingly to reduce the pain, as the accompanying inscription reads, "I will make it more comfortable." Then the man performing the ritual says, "Hold him firmly, don't let him swoon." There may have been mass circumcision ceremonies for an entire age group in any one village or locality, as perhaps indicated by this inscription. In the 4th line of hieroglyphs, we read that this man was circumcised together with 120 others. This sounds like a puberty ritual on a grand scale.